out of focus tonight. The street lights don't look sharp. They stretch into lines like they're tired of being exact.
I don't try to fix it, I don't adjust my eyes. Some nights are clearer when they're not precise. Focus tonight, the room feels softer. Edges don't cut, they dissolve. I like it this way, when nothing demands to be defined.
I used to zoom in on every detail, trying to understand what wasn't meant to be held. Now I let the blur stay, let it breathe, let the picture exist without correction.
The light isn't sharp, but it's warm, and warmth matters more than clarity. Sometimes softness feels more honest than perfect lines.
Focus tonight, and I'm not chasing clarity. The city hum
without instructions, nothing asks me to see further than what's already here.
I don't need the full picture, I don't need the ending.
Half shapes, half memories, half light, still feel complete. Details fade before they become problems. Contours soften before they turn sharp. I stay inside the blur like it's protection.
Out of focus tonight,
and I let it stay that way. Not everything needs to come into view.
some things are better when they glow instead of explain.
The world feels distant, but not far, just soften like it's stepping back to give us space.
The night feels close, but not heavy, just wide, like it doesn't mind if we don't name it.
Out of focus tonight,
And that's enough.
the light isn't sharp tonight, it spreads instead of pointing. Street signs glow without edges, windows shine without lines. Everything looks like it forgot to stay exact. The light isn't sharp, and I don't want it to be.
Sharp light reveals, soft light allows it, let shapes exist without interrogation. I used to prefer clarity, numbers, definitions, outlines, but clarity can be loud, and tonight I don't need loud.
The light isn't sharp, it rests on surfaces, doesn't demand attention doesn't highlight flaws, it just sits like warm without direction.
Reflections bend across the glass. Cars pass by, leaving trails instead of shapes. I don't follow them, I just watch how they stretch into something softer.
Nothing looks fixed, nothing feels rigid. Even the shadows lose their borders. The room breathes in gradients, not contrast.
The light isn't sharp, so neither are my thoughts. They don't arrive as statements, they arrive as impressions and fade before becoming conclusions.
Slightly undefined, when moments don't demand names, when feeling is enough without explanation.
There's something honest about diffusion, about not cutting the world into pieces, about letting it glow instead of analyze.
The light isn't sharp, and that softness feels intentional. Let it blur, let it stay.
Almost clear, but not enough to hold. The skyline stands, but it trembles at the edges, like it's deciding whether to stay sharp
or let go. Almost clear, feels softer than blur. Blur hides, clarity exposes, but this place in between does neither, it just lingers.
I can almost make out every window, almost trace each line, but something stops me from locking it in, and I'm grateful for that. There's beauty in the unfinished outline,
In shapes that don't commit,
in colors that don't insist on being named. Almost clear, like a memory, right before it settles. You see it, you feel it, but you don't pin it down. You let it hover above definition.
you let it hover above definition.
The night isn't hiding, it's just soft. Street lights don't pierce, they glow.
And everything they touch feels warmer than exact, and let it hover above.
I used to chase clarity, as if it meant control, as if sharpness was security.
Now I understand that, sir. can feel heavy. Almost clear means safe. Safe from conclusions, safe from final answers, safe from needing to know everything.
The world stays visible, but not rigid.
I stay present, but not attached. That space between feels intentional.
Almost clear, and that's enough. Enough to see, enough to stay.
Without turning the moment into something permanent.
Sharpen it. Soft around the edges, that's what I noticed first. Not the center, not the shape, not the structure, just the way things refuse to stay sharp. I try to focus, but the lines don't hold. Buildings lean into light, street signs glow outward. Windows dissolve into reflection. Nothing wants to stay exact tonight.
I used to trust clarity, like it was proof. If I could see it clearly, it must be true. If I could define it, it must be stable. But sharp edges cut deeper than they need to, and precision can feel colder than distance.
Soft around the edges means nothing locks in place. Moments don't freeze, they melt slightly. Before I can store them, before I can label them, before I can turn them into something permanent.
There's resistance in me, still trying to sharpen the frame, trying to correct the blur, trying to bring everything into full resolution. But every time I adjust, the night softens it again. Maybe softness isn't a flaw, maybe it's protection. Maybe the world isn't meant to be captured at maximum detail.
Soft around the edges,
feels like mercy,
like light choosing not to expose every corner, like warmth that doesn't doesn't interrogate.
What doesn't interrogate. You don't need perfect lines. You don't need full clarity. Some things are safer and they glow instead of glare.
Soft around the edges means breathing room. Means the moment can't exist without being dissected. Means you can stay without understanding every layer.
The blur isn't hiding truth, it's protecting it. Letting it settle before it hardens. Letting it breathe before it becomes definition.
Soft around the edges and I stop adjusting. Stop sharpening, stop insisting on clarity. Let the light do what it wants.
Let it stay soft.
I remember it differently. The street felt brighter, the air felt clearer. Every line had direction. I could trace the skyline with certainty, like nothing moved without intention.
I remember it differently. Voices were sharper, laughter cut through space. Moments stood still. I thought clarity meant importance.
If I could see it clean, it must have mattered more.
But memory edits, it trims softness. It sharpens contrast.
It removes the blur like it was a mistake.
Like softness was weakness.
I don't remember it that way.
I remember warmth before detail, light before edges.
The way everything glows slightly
Instead of aligning perfectly.
Clarity isn't the only truth.
Sometimes the blur is what made it gentle. Sometimes softness is what made it safe. Even if memory tries to clean it up.
Differently, but I don't argue anymore. Maybe the sharper version is just distance. Maybe time adds contrast to feel more stable.
Right now it's soft again.
Not because it changed, but because you did.
You don't need perfect outlines to feel grounded anymore.
Soft focus
doesn't erase the past.
It lets it breathe,
lets it exist
without forcing it
into a softer now.
Maybe I remember it differently
because I needed it sharper.
Because blur felt uncertain.
Because softness felt unfinished.
It was always soft.
You just needed time to see it that way. Half of what we saw was never about detail. It was about light hitting surfaces and staying there long enough to feel warm. We didn't need sharp edges to understand where we were. We just stood inside the glow.
Half of what we saw was color before meaning. Reflections on glass, street lights stretching across wet pavement. The world didn't need to explain itself, it just shimmered.
I remember the softness more than the structure. The way the night wrapped around us, the way distance didn't feel far, the way blur felt intentional.
Maybe we never needed the whole picture. Maybe half was enough, enough to feel, enough to stay without dissecting every frame.
Half of what we saw I tried to define, tried to anchor to something stable. I traced outlines, counted windows, measured distances like clarity would make it last longer.
But the more I focused, the more it shifted. Light bent shapes softened, edges moved, and I realized I was holding too tightly.
Half of what we saw was never meant to be captured. Some things exist best in motion, best in blur, best unfinished.
Half is honest. It leaves space for breath, for interpretation, for warmth, for the feeling that something doesn't need to be complete to be real.
Half is enough.
The street was quiet, cars moved slowly, neon signs flickered against wet pavement. Buildings stood tall, unchanged, windows reflected everything exactly as it was.
Didn't feel exact, it felt warmer than it looked.
sky was clear, a little haze, but nothing dramatic. Street lights stretched across the road, rainwater pool in thin lines. Everything visible, everything present.
I didn't see lines, I felt distance fade, felt space collapse gently, like the world stepped back and let us stay.
Nothing unusual happened, no loud moments, no sudden change. Just ordinary night, ordinary streets, ordinary air, exactly as expected.
It didn't feel ordinary, it felt suspended, like time slowed down without announcement, like something invisible shifted slightly.
The city didn't change,
Lights remain, buildings remain,
shadows remain, everything stayed where it always was.
maybe it wasn't the city,
Maybe it was us.
maybe the softness was internal, maybe the blur
Maybe the blur
was breath.
from the outside,
Nothing moved,
from a distance,
it was just another night.
from inside,
Everything moved
quietly, softly.
softly without needing to be seen.
The world stayed the same.
Maybe it was just us. Maybe it was just us. It looked brighter than streetlights burned sharper. Reflection stayed still. Windows held light without trembling. Everything felt clear enough to trance. It looks softer now. Streetlights spread outward. Reflections ripple. Windows breathe light instead of holding it. Everything feels warmer than exact.
brighter than edges didn't blur. Distance was measurable, shapes were certain. I could point and know where something began and where it ended.
It looks different now, edges dissolve. Distance doesn't ask to be measured. Shapes hover without insisting on permanence.
It looked brighter then, maybe because I needed brightness, needed contrast, needed outlines, needed stability, maybe sharpness. Felt safer.
It looks softer now, maybe because I don't need sharpness. Soft light feels steadier, it doesn't cut, it settles.
Back then, I thought clarity meant truth. If it was visible, it must have mattered. If it was defined, it must have lasted.
Right now I don't need proof. If it glows, it's enough. If it lingers, that's enough. It looked brighter then.
It feels softer now.
Maybe nothing changed. Maybe we did. Maybe we did.
Not everything needs detail. Not every light needs to be traced back to its source. Not every shadow needs explanation. Some things are better left slightly undefined, because detail can become weight.
Not everything needs detail.
A glance can hold meaning without description. A pause can say enough without translation. Softness doesn't require precision.
I used to zoom in on everything, on words, on expressions, on silence, trying to decode, trying to clarify, trying to make it solid. But solid things can crack.
Soft things adapt. Detail can sharpen until it hurts, until moments feel dissected, until warmth turns analytical, until feeling becomes structured.
And everything needs detail.
The skyline can glow without each window being counted. The night can hum without every sound being identified.
Present doesn't require inventory.
When edges blur, space opens, breathe deepens. You don't need to know exactly how the light bends. You just need to feel that it does. Detail convinces the mind, softness convinces the body, and the body often understands first. Understand without language, without resolution.
Blur isn't absence, it's permission. Permission to stay without dissecting the moment. Permission to let things exist as atmosphere.
Everything needs detail.
Yo.
Some things just need space.
We don't lose truth when we lose sharpness. We just hold it differently, less tightly, less rigidly, more gently.
And gentlemen
Lasts longer than precision.
Not everything needs correction. Not every blur needs sharpening.
Let it stay unclear.
Soft lines carry less pressure. Soft light carries less demand.
Clarity can be heavy. It locks things in place, makes moments rigid.
Unclear is fluid. It bends with breath. It shifts without breaking.
Let it stay unclear.
Don't zoom in. Distance can be kindness.
Some forced details, some shapes are meant to glow.
Not defined. There's tension in trying to know and trying to fix and trying to outline everything before it fades.
Fading isn't loss. It's motion, it's softness, choosing to move instead of freeze.
Let it stay unclear. Half answers feel lighter, half memories feel warmer when they're not dissected.
Let it stay unclear.
Mystery isn't confusion, it's space, and space breathes.
We don't need every edge. We don't need every border.
Sometimes outline creates distance.
And blur creates connection because it leaves room for feeling instead of structure.
Let it stay unclear. Let it remain soft. Nothing collapses when we stop sharpening. Nothing disappears when we stop defining.
It just becomes lighter.
It just becomes warm.
light stretches across surfaces, edges soften before becoming lines, reflections bend into color, color bends into atmosphere. Don't zoom in, distance carries warm shapes, dissolve into glow. Glow settles into presence, presence remains without explanation.
Detail narrows, softness expands when focus tightens. Space contracts when focus loosens. Breath widens. Rain on glass becomes texture. Streetlights become halos. Windows become fields of quiet illumination. Nothing insists on clarity.
Don't zoom in, let movements take movement, let blur remain blur. Precision can wait, sharpness can rest, atmosphere carry enough meaning. Edges exist without borders, lines exist without ownership, light exists without direction, softness exists without defense.
No center required, no definition required, no narrative required, just diffusion, just expansion, just quiet glow.
Detail convinces the eye, softness convinces the body, and the body understands without magnification. Isolates, glow unites.
Blurry is honest, sharp lines pretend to know too much. They claim certainty, they claim structure, but blur admits uncertainty, and uncertainty feels closer to truth.
Blurry is honest, light spreads instead of pointing. It doesn't accuse, it doesn't define. It simply rests on surfaces, softly softly.
I once believed clarity meant strength. If everything was visible, nothing could surprise. If every edge was clean, nothing could shift. But life doesn't stay clean, it breathes in gradients.
Gradients hold warmth, they hold transition. They allow movement without fracture. Blur doesn't lie, it simply refuses to exaggerate. When details disappear, fear disappears too. Because expectation fades, because control softens, because the mind stops tightening around outcomes.
Blurry is honest, it doesn't promise permanence, it doesn't freeze moments, it lets them pass gently, without insisting on being captured.
In soft focus, nothing feels attacked, nothing feels interrogated. Just light, just motion, just atmosphere holding itself together.
And in that softness, breath slow, shoulders loosen, the world feels less sharpened against skin.
Blurry is honest, sharpness is performance. Truth doesn't always arrive in definition. Sometimes it arrives as glow.
Sometimes it arrives as softness and stays. Nothing needs definition. Not the way light bends across glass, not the way distance feels shorter at night, not the way silence
Holds more than sound.
definition narrows and narrowing removes that.
Definition.
Warmth exists without measurement.
Presence exists without explanation.
Softness exists without defense.
Aiming something
Often reduces it. There was a time when labels felt safe,
when clarity felt grounding.
when every feeling needed structure.
The structure
Turns fluid into solid.
in solid eventually cracks.
Blur doesn't crack, it adapts.
It moves, it reshapes
It allows emotion to shift
without breaking under expectation. Nothing
in between space.
Meaning doesn't disappear without a title.
It expands. When edges soften,
interpretation
when
opens,
uncertainty fades,
breath deepens, there's room to feel
without analyzing why. Definition creates borders.
Borders create distance.
Distance creates tension.
Pulls light into narrow beams.
But softness
Spreads light evenly. Even light doesn't need to be sharp. Glow
is enough.
nothing needs definition.
Hurt tonight. Let form stay fluid.
Let meaning stay open.
Let light remain soft. Let the moment remain wide.
Nothing needs definition. Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Not tonight.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition. Nothing needs definition.
Not tonight.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs.
Nothing needs.
Needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing.
Nothing needs.
Nothing needs.
Needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs
Definition. Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs
Definition. Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs
Definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs definition.
Nothing needs that. We don't have to name it. The light is here. That's enough.
We don't have to name it. The air feels softer. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough.
Not every moment needs a title. Not every feeling needs explanation. Some things are better when left untouched.
Naming something sometimes changes it. Turns warmth into category. Turns presence into structure. And structure feels heavier.
We don't have to name it. The street hums, windows glow, silence stays. That's enough. That's enough.
Softness doesn't ask for definition. It only asks for space, space to remain untranslated.
If the moment shifts, let it shift. If the light fades, let it fade. No summary required.
No conclusion required.
No outline required.
Just glow, just breath, just this. We don't have to name it.
We can let it stay
Unspoken,
unlabeled.
unforced.
Soft.
It's fine this way.
It doesn't need adjusting. The light is soft enough.
The air is quiet enough.
Nothing missing.
Nothing extra.
Edges stay blurred.
Close stays warm. It's fine this way. Let it remain
unforced. Unfinished. Still enough.
still enough. Still enough. Soft enough. Soft enough. Soft focus forever, not as escape. Not as filter, just as gentleness allowed to remain. Soft focus forever, light spreading instead of cutting, edges resting instead of defining. The skyline glows, no need to sharpen, no need to measure. Distance feels softer when not inspected. The room holds warmth, no need to outline, no need to conclude. Present stays when not pressured.
Soft focus was never a mistake. It was space. Space between certainty. Space between structure. Space where breath can move freely. Soft focus was always honest. Not loud, not dramatic. Just wide, just calm. Just enough.
Nothing collapses without sharpness. Nothing disappears without definition. Light continues even when blurred, and glow continues even when unnamed.
Soft focus forever.
Let it stay.
Don't zoom in.
Don't rush out.
Let light widen.
Let softness remain.